Notification. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than our Brother James Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Well, alaikum salam, Brother Joshua.
Yes, sir. And on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, we want to thank you very much for coming on for part two. So many people show love and sent love to you based off of the first interview, and we've been anxiously waiting. So this is, I said, what better guest to have to close out 2023 than our Brother James Muhammad, expounding on the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Sister Naima Muhammad sends the greetings. Sister Miriam Muhammad sends the greetings. And thank you all who are watching all around the world. All right, Brother James, let's get straight into it. The first question that we have for you, sir, is let's talk about the number of children that women will have. We're getting deep. The number of children that women will have in the hereafter.
One thing, it is so fantastic. Well, first, thank you for allowing me on your show. I appreciate everything, brother. And your ministry is wonderful. I want to say that. But in the hereafter, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the average sister will have 150 children. And a lot of people never heard that. And Brother Jabril told me that. He said, remember, we will be able to live 1,000 years like it's nothing. And matter of fact, that's in not the part with the children, but living a long life. That's in Our Savior Has Arrived.
Yes, sir.
He said the messenger said we'd have the youth, the appearance, and the energy of a 16-year-old, and that youth, appearance, and energy will last forever. We will never grow old in the aging process. Also, our bodies will be changed. The structure of our bodies. Mother Tainetta, I was talking with her one day, and she was telling me the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told her that in the hereafter, the appearance of our bodies would be similar to the current day Martians. Say we will be very, very tall, very, very black, very thin, and have very, very small waist. So yeah, imagine a sister, you think you got problems with 8 or 9 children, but imagine 150, but we'll be wealthy. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the average Muslim will live in a $17 million home. He said that's the average. So Brother Jabril told me that when he was over in the Holy Land in Saudi Arabia with the minister one time, they were staying at this palace. And he said the palace was worth $1 billion. He said the place was so luxurious. He said, and it was so huge, you had to have a golf cart to get around in the palace. He said all the fixtures were in gold. He said you go to the bathroom, everything is gold plated. He said when you go there to eat, when they have dinner, he said they'd have a long table like they had in the movie. He said be food on every inch of the table. Tables seat 40, 50 people, food on every inch of the table. And he said Allah would bless us with the wealth of the Arabs and the wealth of wealthy white folks in America combined. He said we would be so wealthy that some of us wouldn't even want to leave our house because everything you need, you could have at your house. You want a bowling alley? You got a bowling alley. You want basketball court? You want 2 swimming pools? He said anything you want, you will be able to have because he said the Muslims would be the information brokers for the world. We'll be the information brokers. And the way things are set up, whoever has the most knowledge, that's who actually rules. Knowledge rules. if you put it in practice. Yes, sir. So yeah, 150 children for the average sister.
Mm. And you saying the brothers are taking care of 150 children financially like it ain't nothing, no problem. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, bro, like drinking a glass of water. You know, no, brother, we are going to be wealthy beyond imagination. Yeah. Imagine you so wealthy. You know how we grow up poor initially, most of us.
Yes, sir.
You're so wealthy you don't want to leave your house.
Mm.
Everything you got is at your house, and he said, and on top of it, everybody's your friend.
Mm.
You're wealthy. We living in these communities, and everybody's our friend. And it's no crime. You know, there's enough money for everybody. Yeah, no prisons because you know the people who do violate the law. Hey, no prisons. It's
Allahu
execution.
Akbar.
Absolutely. You ain't got to steal. You ain't got to steal. Everything is there for you. Yes, sir. 150 children.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. And my uncle, Minister Jamil, says, Assalamu alaikum salam, sir. Thank you all people who are watching. Shout out to our YouTube family as well, Brother Musa, Brother Kente, Sister Auntie, everyone. And please let us know what city you all are watching from. And thank you very much.
And
My
please
next
return the
question,
greetings to everyone.
yes,
Sir.
sir, I will. My next question for you is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad in the VIP lane at the bank.
Yeah, it's a today I'm in Phoenix. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was at the bank one day, him and Brother Jabril went to the bank. Brother Jabril said it's a lot of people at the bank that day. This bank is on Southern and Central in Phoenix. I can't, it was, the bank was a different name. It was a different name at that time, but the bank is located Southern Central on the southwest corner. So he said, they're all in the bank. And there's a lot of people. He says, the messenger, look at all those people in line. And the messenger put in his mind, he's not going to wait with all those people. So what he does, he walks to a different section and just stands there. He said the messenger's carrying an old attache case. That's the word Brother Jabril used. He didn't use briefcase, attache case. And he said the messenger's just standing there where it's no line. He makes his own line. He makes his own VIP line. And so the people at the bank, they looked at him, and one of the bank people, one of the bank officers at a desk, walked up to him and started talking to him. Sir, it's not like he explains to her his situation, and they take him. He ain't got to wait. They take him into the back because he was making a deposit. They had $50,000 cash in the attache case. So, he said the messenger would do certain things like that. He said, messenger's mind worked totally different than our mind. He was saying the messenger would tell him, because Brother Jabril used to live directly across the street from the messenger. The messenger bought him the house directly across the street. Matter of fact, the messenger paid $19,000 more than what the realtor was asking for the house. And so he bought Brother Jabril the house, and then the captain lived next to Brother Jabril. I don't know if the messenger bought the house for him. Maybe he did, but I can't say if he did or he didn't because I never asked him that question.
Yes, sir.
But he said the messenger told him one day, he said they were across the street. They were at the messenger's house, the national house. And he said the messenger pointed across the street to his house and pointing at the roof tiles. He said, brother, he said, if the messenger of Allah ever asks you to do something, whether or not you believe you can do it, at least be found trying to do it. I said, okay. And so, very, very valuable lesson. A lot of people didn't know the messenger was a musician also. He plays what's called a Jew's harp. The messenger played that. And also the messenger was a photographer. A lot of people didn't know that about the Honorable Elijah. This man had so many talents, but he just loved the believers. See, everything he did with the believers in mind. Everything that he did always had the believers in mind.
Excellent. All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. I definitely didn't know about him being a musician. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
Or being a photographer as well. Thank you for your history. Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, I have been invited to come to Phoenix January 20th for a red carpet event for a movie dealing with the coming of God, about the mother plane, from Minister Halim, and I'm very honored to accept that and be headed towards Arizona and the Phoenix. Why is it important that we address the mother plane and baby planes in 2020, will now be 2024, going into 2024? Why is that something that we need to address?
The mother plane is built to take this world down and to also to bring the new world up. It has a dual purpose.
Mm,
The mother plane is the weapon of God. It is a human built planet. It is designed in such a way to where when it springs into action, everybody will know that Master Farad Muhammad was behind the things that took place prior to that. Master Farad Muhammad said if he needed to, he could bring the white man's world down in 12 hours. Imagine you wake up at 6 in the morning, and by 6 in the evening, this man is totally, completely crushed. That mother plane has the civilization that will take us into infinity.
mm, mm,
Remember when the scientists were looking in time, they saw 15,000 years of a 25,000 year cycle. They didn't see the last 10,000 years of this cycle, meaning they didn't see the 10,000 that would come and help raise the nation. Those 10,000 that they didn't see is tied to the original 10,000 in the universe over 82 trillion years ago, roughly, because we say 76. The sun started shining 76 trillion years ago, but it took the sun 6 trillion years to shine.
mm,
Remember, it took us 6 trillion years to have our first writer in the nation of
mm,
Islam, because you can't write in darkness. You need
mm,
light to be able to write. And so when Allah said, be to the sun didn't start shining right away. Messenger said it took 6 trillion years for the sun to shine. So that plane is so significant. I mean, I could talk about that plane for hours and hours. They talk about 3 bombs. Yeah, those bombs are physical bombs, but it also have other weapons on that plane. It has sound weapons that they can use sound to reverberate that will bring down buildings. They have more than just those 3 bombs, and those 3 bombs, they also represent the principles, 3 of the principles, which is those 3 bombs that will be dropped with a drill and a timing device. It has a spiritual significance because the bomb is going into your ear. That's the word. The teaching's going into your ear with a drill and a timing device, and the drill drills so far down, then it sets off an explosion. And those explosions are what? Those 3 bombs represent freedom, justice, and equality.
mm,
And it brings up a mountain in your mind, but it also has that physical aspect where those are hydrogen bombs too.
mm, mm,
And those hydrogen bombs are accompanied by gas. So if the hydrogen bomb don't get you, don't worry, the gas will snuff you out.
mm, mm,
So that ship is so important. What's going on right now throughout the nation is the same thing that was happening when that ship was being built on the island of Nippon, and that was the name of Japan. It
yes,
was
sir.
a messenger called Nippon. And one thing Brother Jabril said, the messenger said, he said, white folks knew something was going on, and they didn't know what it was. They didn't know the ship was being built, but they
Mm,
knew something was going on, and they had agents all around the world looking. But they never discovered what was going on in that island of Nippon. So those people who worked on the ship said the people of Mecca had put up it was either 300 or $400 million in gold at that time.
Mm,
Because even though Master Fraud Muhammad's the Lord of the worlds, he didn't ask them to build the ship for free. He's a practical man.
mm.
Those were scientists. They had to work. So he paid them. He paid them very well, and they were paid in gold.
Mm,
To
mm.
build that ship. A lot of times people want you to do certain things for free. You can do some volunteer work, but if you're a man with a wife and children, you can't work for free.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so it's a lot of aspects of that ship.
Perfect. Yes, sir. Okay, and thank you all for watching. Brother Hoyles, the ASA family, Walaikum Salam, sir. I wanted to ask you about the book that Minister Jabril wrote. Is it possible that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically alive? Why should we read that, and why should we read that in 2023 going into 2024?
Well, the thing is, we should read that because it lays out how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad escaped from a death plot. Recently, I heard someone saying the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they believe that he's not physically alive. They said that it's possible, but it's not probable. No. If you talk like that, that means you believe that he is not the Christ. If you talk like that he's not alive, you believe he's not the Jesus. You don't believe he escaped the death plot, even though the Holy Quran said he did. The Holy Quran. So you believe that he didn't, and the Holy Quran say he did. What it is when a person talks like that, it's really against the ministry. We have to be aware that we're going to go through a test again when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan leaves. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, we will go through the same tests that we had in 1975. He used to say that in some of the early years, early 81, 82, 83, 84. He'd say that often. I've heard him say that many times. He said, but don't worry, you're going to pass. Why? He said, I'm giving you all the answers. He said, this time it's an open book test. So if anybody comes and say anything contrary to what that book said about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if they say he's dead, no. And if they believe that, why did they challenge that to Brother Jabril when he was alive?
Mm.
Why do you wait for the man to pass and then try to attack a dead man? Brother Jabril, he's not physically with us anymore. He's dead. That's the reality. You have some hypocrites out here, on a space strip. Oh, Brother Jabril, he's still physically alive. Mother Tarnetta, she's still alive. Minister Ava, she's still alive. They all up on the ship. It's like, where'd you get that from? That's not in the teachings. It's
Mm, mm,
nowhere in the messenger's books. I can show you plenty of places in the messenger books where it say you're not coming back from a physical death. That was reserved for the messenger, to come back. And even the messenger wrote a letter. That's the one he signed in red, 1967, where he was writing to Brother Jabril. And he said, if Master Farad Muhammad had not showed him how he would escape, he would have no hope at all. So a person who's saying the messenger didn't escape, so you're saying the messenger's a liar? That's what you're essentially saying.
mm.
That's what you're saying. So you're saying the messenger's a liar, and you're saying the minister's a liar. You don't come out and use that kind of language. You try to code it, and then to use mockery. On that same lecture that I listened to briefly, person said about the messenger selling any Muhammad Speaks newspapers. I don't know if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad sold any Muhammad Speaks newspaper, but I know I sold some. That's mockery. And the believer should immediately check that first. Hold it. If the messenger's the publisher of the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, and Minister Farrakhan is the publisher of the Final Call, every paper you sell, he sold, because he's a publisher. Minister's selling every paper, because without the minister being the publisher, we wouldn't have the paper. Without the messenger being the publisher, we wouldn't have the paper. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad escaped the death plot. it said he was made to appear dead in the Holy Quran. Even when a person is dead, and it talks about how the soldiers pierced his side, blood didn't run out. Why? Because the blood coagulates. The heart's not pumping, so it's not pumping blood.
Mm.
If he, you know, if the person's dead, no blood. It's just certain things. I don't have that book with me, but I mean I could go into that book.
Yes, sir.
When
Yes,
I
sir.
do my YouTube page, that's one of the first three subjects I do want to deal with, and deal with it extensively. To show that he did escape with death flight. And remember, hypocrisy is on the rise in the nation. But that's not Minister Farrakhan's test. That's our test.
Mm.
That ain't Minister Farrakhan passed his test. Look, we should be aware of whoever says anything that's contrary to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If Minister Farrakhan says something, we know it's true. He said the messenger escaped the death flight. What was the test? Wallace Muhammad comes along. He's the messenger's son. He's the blood son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He's the one who took the nation down, but the nation went down because they didn't study. So all the blame can't be put on Wallace Muhammad, but he came and that's the messenger's son. And it's just a messenger's son. And the Holy Quran said your biggest test is who? Your family, your wives and your children. Your wives and your children. The Holy Quran says it. So the person believes the Holy Quran's lying? No. Just because you're the messenger's son, as in the case of the Morris Dean Muhammad, that don't mean you're correct. That don't mean you're correct. And I used to be in a Oakland mosque years ago, and we'd have these debates with these little hypocrites outside of the mosque. And brother, that's a messenger's son. I said, so what? That don't mean nothing to me. I said, being his son don't make you right. Being his daughter don't make you right. Being his brother or sister don't make you right. Right is what makes you right today. Right is what makes you right. And that's how we have to get. We can't get to the point where we're hung up on titles. In the book of Romans, it said God is no respecter of persons.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we're not hung up on that. So no, and I'm gonna deal with that possibility because I'm the type of person. If you throw a rock at my leader, I'm gonna fire back at you with whatever I have.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A person tried to throw a rock and try to be sneaky, but that rock was thrown at the minister. You're calling, a person say the messenger is not alive, you're calling the minister a liar. I mean, just to cut through all the crap. You're calling the minister a liar. And what are they basing it on? Or, they basing it on some profession. Do you know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad studied the human body for 6 years like a medical student? Yeah. He studied, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad knew the human body. Even when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking black germ or brown germ, he could have used the word genetics and this and that. He could have used that, but he knew our people couldn't grasp that. So he had to speak in the language of the people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a scientist. It's a lot of things that he could have told us. I mean, when you look at science and look at the Bible and the Quran, a lot of things are easier to understand. A lot of things are easy to be defended. A lot of times you talk about Christianity, and we'll talk about it. And one of the things that the Christians will say, well, child, God ain't got no color. God ain't got no color. That's a lie. You can prove that real easy. What does it say at the very beginning in Genesis? In the beginning, darkness covered everything. It's the only thing that existed was darkness and God, correct?
Correct.
So if God was the only thing that existed and darkness existed, God had to be the color of the only thing that existed. That's common sense. You prove that right away. I said, what? Hold it. Because look, I talk to Christians all the time, and that's what I always really. No, I said, brother, look, let's just use common sense. If we use your Bible, we ain't gonna go Quran. It says God, darkness. So if God was the only thing that existed, what color could he be? Because the only thing that existed was darkness. I said, so that proves that God is what color? Black. It's the only thing that is. Nothing else existed at that time. I mean, it's simple things like that. So it's things we go to, and we deal with when you deal with Christians. In the lessons we say Christianity is 551 years old.
That's right.
That was from when that lesson was written. Do you know why?
No, sir.
Okay, the reason why Christianity is 551 years old. It all goes to a man named John Wycliffe. John Wycliffe. This is Wycliff. Sometimes it's spelled Cliffe. John Wycliffe, he was a theologian in England. He was the head of a group that's called the Lollards, Lollards. And he is the first person to translate the Bible into English in the year 1383. So all translations of the Bible are based on his first translation into English. That's why the Bible is 551 years old from the date of that writing. It's right there in the lesson. But we never looked and said, why? No, that's the answer. You go look it up and you'll find it right away. It's so many things that we consciously don't really delve into. You know how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says it's 9 planets with life. 7 planets have a higher form of life. 2 planets have a lower form of life. But how do we prove that? How can we prove it as it's in the twinkling of an eye? It's real easy. Listen to what he said. He said 7 planets have intelligent life, and 2 planets have a lower form of life. On the human being, where is your center of intelligence? It's in your head, right?
Yes, sir.
How many holes do you have in your head? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes in your head. And how many holes do you have below your waist? 7 inhabited, 7 planets, higher form of life, intelligent life. Your head is your seat of intelligence. And 2 planets below your waist, lower form of life. It's things like that shows, oh brother, I mean, this teaching is so fantastic. And that's what the reason why I'm writing my books is to try to expand, to get the young people to, when they're 7 and 8 years old, to really start going into the lessons. Our children, I didn't do it with mine, but I should have. So I was, one thing Brother Jabril used to say all the time, of how people grow up differently and how we grow differently. Say, all trees, he said, no, he said, all flowers don't bloom at the same time. So we understand that one, So we should have our children in those lessons looking up every word, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every word, they should look it up, because as they look up every word, it opens another aspect of their mind. In the Bible, it talks about a wonder in heaven. And it talks about a woman who was clothed, had the stars and the moon, stars at her feet, and it said she was clothed in the sun. Like, hold it. But they called her a wonder in heaven.
Mm.
Why was she a wonder? She was a wonder in heaven. What that is talking about, that Brother Jabril told me, is talking about Master Farad Muhammad's mother. He said, yeah, that's what he said, brother. He said it was a wonder because the other scientists was wondering what's going on here. This is the first time that a person other than original had been invited to even participate in the circle. So they were wondering first, they were wondering like, what's going on? This is so fantastic. This has never happened in 66 trillion years since the deportation of the, I mean, not it never happened. First time 66 trillion years, since the deportation of the moon. And when we get into the deportation of the moon, one of the things that Brother Jabril said, do most people wonder what part of the earth did the moon come from? What part? He drilled into the earth, approximately halfway. And the dynamite that he uses is 30% more powerful than this dynamite now.
Yes, sir.
Blew the moon out. The moon came from the Pacific Ocean area. That's why it's the largest ocean, and they can't find the bottom to it. Yeah, so it's things like that. And also dealing with the deportation of the moon. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, no matter what happens, the water can never be destroyed. That's on, I'll read it. Go to Flag of Islam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Page 12. Okay. Okay, where did it? Okay. It says, I'll start reading here. We are to carry the dead peace because it is deprived of life. The other part, our earth, is filled with abundance of life. We cannot say that we robbed the moon of its life. The enemy robbed the moon of its life, parentheses water, and poured it onto this part of the earth. This act of saving the water from the destruction of the moon was of Allah to show that regardless of what happens to the matter, parentheses moon, the original water of life will be saved. You can't destroy the water. You can't destroy the water. That's right here. Those who don't have the book, go get the book. Read it for yourself. These are things that we should be, trying to stay up on. Little things, just read something every now and then. Now, how did that water come back? If all that water went up, it had to come back. How did it come back? How long did it take for the water to come back? That water that was blown away from the earth, it came back in the form of rain and mist.
Yes,
it rained on the earth for 6 years straight. 6 years straight is how that water came back, because we couldn't come back at one time. It would have drowned all the life. And so Brother Jabril said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the scientists kept the water in check with the power of their minds and let the water come back in rain and mist. And they had all that excess water accumulate at the North Pole and the South Pole in the form of ice. So that water that's accumulated in the form of ice that shows the polar caps are frozen, and we travel mainly east to west.
Yes, sir.
We do a little north and south, but we can't go, we can go north and south. It's going to get harsh, when it gets too far because of cold. That's why there's so much wisdom in Islam that even in the janazah service, when they go to the cemetery, why do they bury the body north and south?
Go ahead and teach. Yes, sir. Go ahead and teach.
They bury the body because it shows that you are no longer among the living with your physical activities, and we bury you north and south to show you're not moving among us anymore, not
mm,
on a physical level. You
mm.
can move among us in the books that you wrote, or a movie that you made, or the words that you left, or good deeds that you did, but you're not moving among us physically anymore. And so that's, certain things like that. And I don't know if I talked about it last time, but if I did, just bring it up again. In the early years, did you know women couldn't talk?
No, sir, you can't
They,
talk about this.
yeah, okay, yeah. When I mean trillions of years ago, man and woman there, we're all around. Lots of us created, you know, having babies. The first man, first thing Brother Jabril told me, he said, the first man was taller, bigger, and stronger than the first woman. Said, and the first man had to give gifts to the first woman. She expected gifts from him, and she expects gifts today.
Mm.
That's what she expects. Said, and at the beginning, women did not talk.
Mm.
Men talk when I don't know why they didn't talk. He never explained why, and I was just too dumb enough to ask. A lot of things I wish I would have asked. A lot of things I was just too damn dumb to ask certain questions. I
Mm.
wish I would have asked them. But he said, the women couldn't talk and men talk. But like I say, they couldn't talk then. But boy, are they making up for it now. And so it's funny. A lot of times I'll be sitting around and I'll be thinking on certain words that's used in vocabulary and words that's used in the nation and the teachings, and how we're taught that the woman is a oh, I can't think shot. It'll come to me. Yeah. We're taught that the woman is the work, the womb of the woman is the workshop of God.
Yes,
You
sir.
heard that taught, right?
Of course.
Yeah, the workshop of God. Why, and this you look at and say, wow, workshop, that's an interesting word. And reverse the word. Yeah. Or leave the word as it is.
Mm.
She's a workshop. So the man works so she can shop.
Shop.
So that's one of, that's one of the things that makes her the workshop. But the man the man has to be a producer. Even every man is produced with the ability to go and do something for himself and his family. Man don't have to sit there with a sign out there and beg. Hey, Messenger said, if you're sick, work. If you're tired, work. If you're hungry, work. If you're cold, work. The solution to everybody's problem is work.
Mm.
Whatever condition you're in, you get out of your condition if you work. But you can't sit there and wait for another man to feed you. What would I look? What would I look like? Another man, I'm doing. Give me some food. Hey, better go get your own damn food.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
shouldn't be feeding a grown man. I shouldn't be feeding another grown man shouldn't feed a grown man. I can see if you fall on hard times. It's all this exceptions, because the average black man in America has been homeless at one time or another.
Mm.
I have to. Hey, so
Mm.
hey, I've needed help, but I'm not sitting around waiting for another man to give me something. If I fall on hard times, get out of the hard times and keep moving. No, we got to work, you know. And remember, your master Farad Muhammad, his father was born in Aswan, Egypt.
No, sir. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Master Farad Muhammad's father was born in Aswan, Egypt. When Master Farad Muhammad was 4 years old, he took him into the vaults and started teaching him. And took him around, paid big money for books. Lots of money. And his father was the supreme. His father was head of the circle prior to that. And Master Farad Muhammad, the messenger was going to teach on the history of Master Farad Muhammad in the early 60s at Savior's Day. But then Brother Jabril said he changed his mind because he didn't want Wallace making mockery when the nation fell. He had mentioned to Brother Jabril in March of 1961 that they'd have to get rid of the ministers. Brother Jabril, and he was Brother Jabril and Minister Abdul Allah, who used to be over the editor of the paper. You know, they were Brother Jabril had came to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with different articles he had saved, and he wanted permission to make a book. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Of course, brother." He said, "Yeah, you have my permission." He said, "But remember, brother," he said, "with the ministers, we are going to have to get rid of most of them." This was in 1961. Messenger knew the nation was falling. The messenger knew the nation was falling. That's why sometimes he would just sit around and cry, you know, but he knew the nation would come back. And so the way the nation don't fall the second time is we have to study. And anytime those who try to deceive the believers, is two things they're going to use. They're going to use the domestic life of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the domestic life of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And they're going to use that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is physically dead. Those are the only two weapons that they could possibly throw. And that's why I say, you know, they let out a flood on the dragon. That's and right. The earth swallowed up the flood. They're like, come on, man, we ain't going for that punk stuff. Talking about messenger dead. And then you say the messenger dead, and then say, I still believe in the messenger. You can't believe in the messenger if you believe the messenger's dead. I still believe in this guy. Dead man don't make no demands on you. You follow it. That's why a lot of people, I follow Malcolm. Yeah, you follow Malcolm because Malcolm don't make no demands on you. A live man make demands on you. You know, dead man ain't gonna make no demands. No, brother. So all these things, and it was so despicable to try to bring the book up and challenge the man. They wait until Brother Jabril's dead. Brother Jabril may be physically dead. I'm not physically dead. I will debate you. I will debate you. Not only will I debate you, I will pay for the body that you think is dead of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that I will pay out of my own money for that body to be exhumed. And once we prove that I was right and that's not the message, give me my money back. And and if you prove that's the messenger, I'll give you my life. Now, you put your life on those people who talk that stuff. Let them put their life on the line. That's what the minister did. The minister offered to pay, resume the body, put the dental, the teeth, yes, the X-rays to show that's not that man. It may be a man in there dead. That ain't the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, even a lot of the white Shriners, they know the message is not dead. A lot of them believe the message is not dead. You know, when Brother Jabril first did the book, This Is the One, and a person was supposed to finance the book. And so when the person reneged to finance the book, and the book's ready to go and, you know, ready to print, Brother Jabril, what he did, he went to a man here who was president of the Valley National Bank here in Phoenix. Brother Jabril said he went to this man, scheduled a man, because he was going to see if he could get a loan from the bank to finance that book. So the name of that man is a white man. His name was Walter Bimson, Bimson, B-I-M-S-O-N. And so he asked Brother Jabril, introduced, brought Brother Jabril in his office, he sit down, he said, Brother Jabril was a young man at the time. He said, young man, he said, before we start, I just got one question to ask you. And Brother Jabril said, go ahead, ask him. He said, who is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? So Jabril, brother, he looked at the man, he said, he's a messenger of Allah. Man said, good, okay, now we can sit down and talk. The white man, he realized, remember those lessons we deal with? This man was a Shriner. The president of the bank was a Shriner. And those lessons, the Shriners, they know who's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Me and this one brother, he's passed now. He was one of the hypnotist brothers, brother Richard and brother Earl. I was real good friends with them.
Mm.
You know, and one time me and brother Richard, we were doing some business, and we had went over to the Shriner Temple here in Phoenix to conduct some business. And so it was a white Shriner we were doing business with, so we all go over to the Shriner Temple. So as soon as he introduced us to these high-ranking Shriners, it was so funny. A lot of times they come in, they see black people, they BS them. He told these white Shriners, we all sit down in the office. He said, "Oh, by the way, they're with the Nation of Islam. No need to try to BS them. They already know who we are." And I'm like, wow, bro, right in front of them. And say, "Oh, okay. No, they didn't try to pretend with us because white Shriners, they know who Hiram Abiff. They know the history of the black. They study us in secret. They study us in secret. They know the ruffians. They know how we were brought up on a westerly course and buried in the north corner. A little sprig coming out, a casket coming out of grave. Show that.
Right, that's right.
He's not dead. You need a master grip. Remember those lessons? Those lessons are written in past, present, and future, present tense.
That's right.
And why does Muhammad make the devil study from 35 to 50 years before he can call himself a Muslim son, or the greatest only flag known of the universe? And the answer is
that's right.
Himself up, do trading among. A lot of times we think that's just the white Shriners. No, that's us too, brother. That's us. We have to study from 35 to 50 years to become Muslims. We're not Muslims just because we come in. I recited, I decided my student enrollment. Actual facts, I'm a Muslim now. You know what me and Jabril were talking about? You know what Jabril referred to us all the time when we talk? Nig Muslims. He said we nig Muslims. Most niggas are Muslim trying to become Muslims. He said, saying assalamu alaikum don't make you no Muslim.
That's right.
And then look how those lessons are written so that we can come and do trading among us. Think about that. That deals with the Muslims years ago, Jerusalem. That deals with the white Muslims today. Brother, when the Nation of Islam takes over, and it's going to be Nation of Islam ruling the earth. And remember that it's those white people, they're still going to be alive. White people are going to be alive to continue for a little over 300 more years. They're going to be confined to Europe. They need goods and services. They still got to eat. They still need clothes. They still need cars. Who's going to do trading? It's going to be other white Muslims. They're going to be confined. The majority of the white people are not going to be allowed to come out of Europe. But it will be some who will be allowed to come out. Because why? They studied for 35 to 50 years. And they will have to do trading for their people. No, brother. I mean, past, present, and future tense. If you look at every one of those, particularly remember lesson number 1 lays the foundation. When you look at lesson number 1, say, okay, that's the past. What's the present? What's the future? You have 14 question answers. Why 14? That's easy. 1,400 years of Prophet Muhammad.
Go ahead and teach.
Yeah. And the other thing, 14, remember, Master Farad Muhammad, he started teaching July 30th. July 4th. July 4th, 1930.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Why didn't he meet the Honorable Elijah Muhammad until September 22nd, 1931? Why didn't he just meet him right away? Those 14 months represent the 1,400 years of Prophet Muhammad.
Go ahead and teach.
That's why it was 14 months. So it's things like that that are so profound.
One second, Brother James. I just thank you
sir.
for teaching so many people. I got to get a commercial break in for all those sponsors, people showing love. Brother Farrakhan says, "Wow, can he write a book so we can have all of this?" Absolutely. We're going to discuss.
I'm writing 2 books.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother Hoyle says nothing changed, but Larry Muhammad says teach. Bro, that's propaganda. Floods. Sister Miriam says all praises to Allah. They know. Brother Kenneth Muhammad says very enlightening. Can't wait to upload this to YouTube. We have a quick
Yes, sir.
second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. We thank you all for every Cash App, for every donation, for every sponsor. 1 second. For every like, share, and subscription as well. Thank you all. YouTube showing love, Facebook and Twitter showing love as well. Thank you all very much. 1 second. There we go.
Any of those services. Sister Miriam's ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now Spanish book. All three available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta Dress in the best of fashion. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on adulsharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon.
Excellent. And also Sister Sherry Muhammad with Asiatic Minds. Sister Sherry Muhammad with Asiatic Minds. Please enroll your children. AsiaticMinds.com. They teach STEM virtually to young kings and queens all around the world. AsiaticMinds.com. Boom. Right back to our brother. Brother
Yes,
James. Yes, sir. We're waiting for you. You were about to say something. I didn't want to interrupt, but we just had to get that in there.
Yeah. Now, one of the things to show the wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I know last time we talked about binary numbers, the 1 and the 0,
Yes,
to
sir.
show that everything is from one source. Okay, I'm going to just hold this up. I don't know if you can see it good. It's a Star of David, and then also it's a cross.
Okay.
Okay, and then also, you know what the yin and yang symbol look like? It's a circle.
Yes, sir.
With a little sign, and then a small circle, an empty one, and a full circle. If you look at the symbols of religion, most of the symbols of religion, you know, they equal 360 degrees. Look at the cross. What is the cross? The cross is like that, but guess what? It has 4 corners. A corner has how many degrees? 90 degrees.
Yes, sir.
4
yes,
times
sir.
90 equals what? 360 degrees.
Yes, sir.
If you look at the sign of Islam, the sun, the moon, and the star, how many degrees are we dealing with there? 360 degrees.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you look at the Star of David, which is 2 inverted triangles, crossing each other.
Yes, sir.
Each angle or each point 60 degrees from the other point. 60 times 6 equals 360 degrees again. Yeah, if you look at the yin and yang symbol in Taoism, it's a circle, 360 degrees.
Okay.
If you look at the Baha'i faith, they have a 9-pointed star in the Baha'i faith, and each point is 40 degrees from the other point. 9 times 40, 360 degrees again. So Islam is mathematics. It shows no matter how you divide it, you keep coming back to 360, 360, 360,
Yes, sir.
360, 360. And that's to show Islam is everything. If you look at religion, what they call religion, not the rituals, not the practices, but the principles, they all have the same principles. All religions believe in charity as a principle.
Yes, sir.
All religions believe in prayer. We may pray differently, but as a principle. All religions believe that the devotee will have a meeting either here or somewhere else with their object of devotion as a principle. All religions believe in some type of hereafter or afterlife. We just believe, it's not only believe, we could just prove you ain't gonna die and get up out of that grave. We believe in an afterlife or hereafter. That's hereafter the power of Satan is destroyed. But all of them believe in a hereafter that people call heaven or hell. So all of them believe in that. And all of them believe in some type of denial or some type of sacrifice of yourself in a way that will bring you closer to God.
Yes,
so
sir.
when you look at those principles, no titles. We just go to principles, all of them are the same at the root. They just don't understand. Nation of Islam, they'll understand it one day. They'll understand it one day. Well, yeah. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, did you know Master Farad Muhammad's last letter to the messenger was from Mexico?
No, sir.
The last physical letter that he received was from Mexico. And the reason why, Master Farad Muhammad has a brother that lived in Mexico. And he told his brother that at a certain time, he would have to help with the mission. And if he didn't help with the mission, he would chastise his brother. He would chastise him. Now, this is something. I want people, when they get off the podcast, to please go pull up an image of the Mexican flag. And the reason why I say pull up an image of the Mexican flag, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the second nation that will accept Islam, the way he teaches it, would be Mexico. First it'd be America, just there. Then it'd be Mexico. If you look at the Mexican flag represents the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching. When you look at it in detail, what is the Mexican flag? You have a bird that's perched on a cactus and he's devouring or eating up a snake. I quoted, I determined for you the form of a bird out of dust. And what represents Satan? A snake.
That's right. That's right.
Is it a coincidence that the Mexican flag, it shows how the messenger and the minister are eating Satan alive? No, that's not a coincidence. No, it's these things that happen. No, you look up the Mexican flag. You know how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, no matter what happens, it's 4 mosques that would have to stand.
That's right.
And those 4 mosques, he said, Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, and New York.
Yes, sir.
And then he said, possibly it would be a 5th mosque, but he never mentioned what the 5th mosque is. Why did those 4 mosques have to stand? There's many mosques in America. Why is it? What is so important about those 4 mosques?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That they must stand. Look at the journey of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his interaction. Okay, New York, mosque number 7, it has to stand. Why? That's where he was made the national representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And remember, New York represents the heart. New York was a heartbeat of the nation. So New York has to stand. It was very instrumental prior to 75, and it was instrumental on this side of Calvary.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
It has to stand. Mosque number 2, that represents the head, his headquarters. Minister Farrakhan, very instrumental. That side of mosque number 2, and also on this side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Los Angeles, that's where he stood up September 14th, 1977. Remember, he stood up, that's the night, the fights, when they're having all the championship fights in Vegas.
Yes, sir.
Also,
yes, sir.
dealing with I talked last time, September 11th and September 14th, you get number 25, Farrakhan, September 11th, burnt into minds of America, Day of Terror, September 14th, Night of the Champions. But Los Angeles, you have the 2 and you have the 7 right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Very
sir.
significant.
That's right. That's right.
Atlanta, Moss number 15. It's called the Rock. What did Jesus say to Peter? On this rock I will build my church. And also, the only minister that the messenger had a picture of in his dining room was Minister Rock Mine. Yeah, and then the other stuff I talked about last time about Atlanta representing Atlantis. I mean, this is significant. It's not lightweight that 15 is given Atlanta. It represents a great sea power and a great technological power that came up. It's no coincidence that Phoenix is number 32. What did Phoenix represent? Phoenix was a mystical bird that rose from the ashes and renewed itself every 500 years. Look, remember how the messenger said at a certain time, we will be given a certain part of America to rule. We will be given. Look, we came in the year 1555. And in just a few more years, 27 more years, it'll represent us being, 32 more years. 32 more years, it will represent us being in America as slaves for 500 years. When are we going to stand up and renew ourselves? When are we going to rise from the ashes? I'm studying that now to see, if it has any gravity. I'm not saying, in my mind, I feel that year has to be connected some type of way. Well, we rise up from the ashes, but I'm not definitive on it yet, because that's something that it's gonna take maybe weeks or maybe a couple months of just studying that aspect. I don't want to say that that's definite, because I don't know, but it seems like something is very dynamic is going to happen. When we reach that 500-year period, here in America. Well, brother, I mean, it's so many things. Do you have any questions for me?
I mean, you've been answering so much. You've taken us, man, the questions, this is phenomenal. This is great. Brother said, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Mother Sanetta said, the Mexican people are coded to help us. The wills are there all the time. Brother Roosevelt, thank you for showing love. Sister La Roya says, so very informative. Separation is the best and only solution. 8 to 10 states or more. Minister Louis Farrakhan loves the South. Thank you, everyone who is showing love to our brother, Brother James. I wanted to go back. Well, you gave me so much to follow up on, but I wanted to talk about, with the attack of the domestic life and the messenger being physically alive. What should we study to help defend the domestic lives of the minister, the messenger, and what should we study to help defend it?
Dealing with the domestic life, we have to go in the Quran. That's one aspect, but also into the Bible. In the aspect of the Quran, if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't have wives, then when they say, well, we can't say you're the messenger, because the messenger had wives. Elijah had he had wives. And why did he have wives? What aspect? Remember, this is a new creation coming about. The Honorable Elijah, one of the reasons he had wives is because how each planet brings up a different type of life. And each planet has a different color. So what happens with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, with his wives, they produce different children. And so he was able to master every aspect. You cannot have a new world until you first make a new man and a new woman. Master Farad Muhammad was the first new man. He's the first perfected man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he's the second perfected man, but he's the first perfected man that was married. Now we're taught marriage is half of your religion. Why? Because a woman will try you and test you in a way that you can't get that anywhere else. In order to be a man can't say, I'm a real man, and I'm 50 or 40 and 60, 70, and I've never been. No, when you get married, hey, who does that say? Who let the dogs out? Look, nah, man, they're gonna be on you. And then, brother, look, the woman is so powerful. We know. Look, brother, the woman, she knows us and she studies us. The woman, when you in bed sleep, she's studying you. We don't study her. The woman will have your mind so twisted, especially when we young and you first love and going. Look, the woman got her mind so bad, man. Even her, when we twist it like that, even her farts smell like perfume to us. So we know that. And so what it does, she helps us become God. You can't become the fullness of God unless you're Master Farad Muhammad. And even he's going to get married at a certain point. And it helps develop him. The woman helps you become God. Look, with Brother Jabril, be with him, his children, you have different interaction, different interaction with his wife, when he was married. He talked to me all the time about his domestic life. No, the woman helps develop you. You can't be a full man. Oh, well, no, you can't reach your full potential without the woman. The woman helps you reach a potential that you would never experience, because when you sitting up and you a man and you got babies in there to feed and you ain't got no money and you ain't got no food, you can't go out in the field or go out your front door and come back with nothing. Your wife sitting there and baby sitting there. Oh, honey, you know what? I tried today, but hey, no food for us and the babies. That's not going to fly. That's not flying. That's why a lot of men, a lot of times would resort to criminal activity before. It's like, hey, before I sit up and let my wife and my babies go hungry, somebody's going to get jacked. I'm not going to let my wife and babies go hungry. It's not the best thing to do. And that's why even if a man steals food to live or to survive, that's not considered stealing. If a man goes in the grocery store and ain't got no food, and he goes in and steals a pack of meat and some bread and things like that, takes to his family or to eat for himself, you can't charge that man with theft. That's why, you see these natural disasters and the people come in and they'll break open a vending machine. That's not theft. Now, a man trying to bust the window, take a TV, that's theft. That's theft. Now, let's get this straight. That's theft. But a man who's stealing to eat or to get some water, you can't charge that man with theft. So it's things of that nature. We need to get more into the teachings and try to look at it more from the point of Master Farad Muhammad and his messenger and the minister. Minister is the best example they could have left us, brother. He's the best example. I mean, minister bar none. And I know that a lot of times the minister don't like the believers talking about him in such a way. But I mean, the minister he's a star without equal. The truth is, I mean, just to be honest, we're not even qualified to tie the minister's shoes. I mean, look, remember the minister said, when the messenger came back, he said, he said, if the messenger wouldn't stop him, we'd all be found worshiping at the messenger's feet.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. How do you think we would, brother? We're not qualified to even kiss the minister's shoe. I'm not trying to, I'm just giving him the real respect and due that's actually should be given to him. I mean, the minister is the most wonderful human being that the messenger could have left us. The messenger knew the heart of the minister. That's why the minister is that Surah 36, Yasin, O perfect man.
Yes,
and how
sir.
we're
Yes,
taught,
sir.
Yasin is the heart of the Holy Quran. The minister is the heart of the Holy Quran, and the messenger is the heart of the Holy Quran. And the level of love between them. That's why you have the sun. It operates on fusion to where they have been fused together. You can't separate them. And that's how we have to become. We have to strive to be like the minister.
Yes, sir.
We have to strive to be like the messenger. We are all gods. Right before I went on, me and you and I, we were talking about energy.
Yes, sir.
For the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, I've been studying energy a lot. I like studying physics. I like anything that will bring me closer to the messenger. I like to study. And I'll study these different sciences. But I use the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings as a criteria. Because if the physicists say something that's real crazy and wild off, I'll throw that in the garbage. I only agree with them if they agree with the messenger. They don't agree with the messenger. I know the messenger's right. I know he's right. So in talking about energy, the scientists refer to energy as the capacity to do work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The capacity to do work. The messenger say, when you look at the black man, you're looking at God. So if energy is the capacity to do work, and in energy consumption, you can never reach your potential energy. So who has the most capacity to do work on the planet? It's the black man.
That's right. That's right.
It's the black man. You look at the black man of America. He excels in sports, basketball, football, baseball. If we got into hockey, we'd take over that. If we got into tennis, we'd take that. If we got into golf, we'd take that. Whatever it is, we would excel. Why? Because our capacity is higher to perform. Our capacity to do work we were already the strongest. Then when you add those 310 years of chattel slavery, and then the other years that we've been through of basically almost slavery again. It's just not chattel slavery, except those in prison. That's why they put that in the Constitution. You're not a slave again unless you're in prison, because they already knew what they had planned for us. We have the highest capacity to do work. And what is work? Physics define work as working W. No, W times F. Yeah. Work equals distance times work equals distance times force. So sometimes you have to force yourself to be able to go the distance when you're doing work. And so that's how it is with black folks. We've been forced, they give us nothing. So what they say, Pharaoh had the slaves make bricks out of straw. Then after a while, okay, now you're gonna make bricks out of nothing. I ain't even gonna give you no straw. That's what we've been through. We have the greatest capacity to do work of any human beings on the planet. What we've been through. That's one of the things that make us God. No one can equal that. No one can come close, because they throw us in the projects and rats infested, roaches infested, holes in the wall, no heat, windows broken out. And I said, man, them niggas still alive. They should have been dead. white man would have jumped off the 15th floor a long time ago. No, brother, when they brought us over here, we didn't die. We thrived. We thrived. But one thing, they didn't want us to have Islam, because remember, they had fought with the Muslims when the Muslims conquered Spain.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
Portugal, and were finally stopped in the year 1732 at the Battle of Tours by Charles Martel. Now, you know, when the Muslims fought the Spanish outnumbered them. When the Muslims, they first hit Gibraltar, and that's when I can't think of his name. Well, Gibraltar, he gave the order to burn the ships. A lot of people heard the story, but
Yes,
he
sir.
gave
Yes,
the
sir.
order to burn the ships.
That's right.
And some of his men said, "Hell, hold it. Well, what if we need to surrender? Not surrender." He said, "What if we need to retreat?" He said, "Hey, you ain't retreating on those ships.
That's
You
right.
ain't retreating. You got two choices. You either win or you die."
That's right.
Now, do you know what year that was in?
No, sir.
Remember, we have a super convenience store chain out here. And the chain has a real famous saying, "Oh, thank heaven for 7 Oh, the Muslim."
Yeah. Okay, we're waiting on our brother James to come right back. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Shout out to brother Daniel E. Walaikum salam, sir, and our YouTube family. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Okay, we're just waiting on brother James. Oh, no problem. All right. Thank you to everyone who is texting me. Thank you, everyone who's watching. We're waiting on brother James to come back. For everyone who's watching for the upcoming season of 2024, please let us know if you would like to be a guest on the People's Podcast, and or your family, friends, or if you have any recommendations that you would like to have to come on the People's Podcast. We greatly appreciate it. We have some amazing lineups coming in 2024. Some of the guests we're going live 2 cities before Savior's Day, inshallah. I'll be live in interviewing the believers and the guests all around the world. And then, of course, Savior's Day in person, inshallah. 1 second, waiting on brother James. And hopefully everyone has some great resolutions to, be positive all 2024. 1 second. Okay, yes. Boom, boom, boom. Sister Leroya says she's soaking in our brother's wealth of wisdom. Thank you for this always. Thank you, Sister Leroya, Hagar Muhammad, and Sister Miriam says that's very exciting. Thank you all very much. We've been given a lot of notes to digest. I can't wait to talk about the deportation of the moon, do some studying on that as well. Master Fard Muhammad's parents, his father teaching him. His father was born in Egypt. Like, just all of these great notes that I have, and thumbnails. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so boom. Brother James has messaged me on Facebook. Inshallah, we'll be back for part 3. I hope everyone, may Allah bless everyone with the phenomenal end of the year and the upcoming 2024. Nothing but peace and prosperity. Nothing but blessings and protection. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Thank you, Sister Katina. She's showing love to the brother. And thank you, everyone who's watching. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you again for watching.